They were shocked to see the son of the disabled Marine at the reunion. No one expected such a turn. At the moment, Quentin found himself in an empty trailer, which he carefully set up to meet his needs. Even though Quentin was homeless and had a leg amputation, he didn't give in to the temptation of drinking because he believed in avoiding unnecessary attention to himself in society. It's interesting that only 2 people knew that Quentin's injury wasn't the result of a random accident, but rather a dangerous military action in one of the eastern countries. The Marine Corps shared a motto that says, "No mission is impossible." However, Quentin's involvement in a certain action was very different. The Marines were under heavy fire during the task, which was full of challenges. To successfully repel the enemy attack, they had to come up with a thorough defense plan. Unfortunately, when the smoke cleared, it showed that Sergeant Quentin Evans had been seriously hurt. His life took a turn he didn't expect, which added another layer to an already interesting story. The unit leader made a smart choice when he sent the hurt soldier to the hospital right away, where his life was saved. Even though the doctors did everything they could, they were not able to save the young hero's left leg. This meant only one thing to Quentin: he would never be able to go back to his normal life, which he had been used to living. The unlucky Marine didn't know that the problems he faced when he got back to his hometown in northern Kentucky were not the only ones that fate had planned for him. What Quentin had to deal with was not only the physical effects of his time in the military, but also the harsh truth that his fiancée didn't stand by him. When things went wrong, Quentin saw directly how some people didn't want to start building a life with a disabled person, even if the disabled person was a brave war veteran. His fiancée, Pamela, was a great example of this, because she wasn't ready for the hard times that Quentin's accident caused in their lives. The end of their relationship happened quickly. Pamela ended their relationship as soon as she found out about Quentin's condition. Left to deal with the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, Quentin had a long time of trying to find his way in life. The problems were made worse by the fact that there weren't many jobs in the small province town. And being disabled made it even harder to find work. At times, when he was angry, Quentin held tight to the Purple Heart medal and cursed at fate for the terrible things that seemed to happen to him. Things got even more complicated when it looked like the young Marine wouldn't be able to get any help right away. Sadly, both of Quentin's parents died too soon. And his ex-fiancée quickly went on to a new relationship with someone healthier and wealthier, leaving him to deal with the challenges of life on his own. The poor man started drinking at some point, which made things even worse. Once Quentin was drunk and careless, he set fire to his parents' house and lost everything. He then ended up living on the street. The former Marine didn't understand how quickly he had fallen so far below society's standards until he was on the street with other homeless people and beggars. But Quentin went through a huge change. He stopped blaming other people and started taking responsibility for all of his problems. The young man decided that he would not beg for money again, so he found the strength to deal with his problems and decided to stop drinking. At that crucial point, there was a lot of doubt. Not many people thought that Quentin could ever fully heal from all the problems he had been through. In spite of his problems, the former Marine kept going. He slowly got used to his new life, where he didn't have a fiancée, a home, or a job. Quentin didn't let the problem stop him from working on himself, showing real resilience. Quickly, he learned how to work with electronics and improving his skill set, which gave him a way to make a living. Now that Quentin had built a reputation as a trusted source for technical help, his friends would often go to him whenever their things stopped working. Even though his initial cash gains were small, they had a big effect on the man who had been living on the streets before. Along with being very good at technology, Quentin reached another important milestone when he learned how to use his prosthesis, which meant he could get around without crutches and only with a cane. His increased mobility and his skill at fixing electronics opened the door to a bright future. Quentin accepted this change and turned an abandoned trailer into his home and a successful repair shop. On this special July morning, Evelyn Dawnson brought Quentin a broken iron. After the young man fixed the cord, it worked just like new. "Thank you, you're so talented," the woman said in a whisper. Quentin blushed and was quite surprised and embarrassed. He had no idea how much his skills would affect Evelyn. They were so into their talk that they didn't notice the time going by. Meeting in the trailer was the start of a friendship that would quickly grow and become very important to both Evelyn and Quentin. It happened in the strangest possible place. Before this lucky meeting, Evelyn had been through a failed marriage that ended in a split that her controlling husband started. Unlike Quentin, Evelyn had an old family home that she had inherited from her late grandma. It was a reminder of her past. While working as a cook at a roadside cafe, Evelyn, who was very good at cooking, surprised Quentin with her delicious dishes that they ate together. One important event happened when Quentin was on his way to the hardware shop to get a replacement part for his repairs and saw something that would further connect their lives. A boy, maybe 7 years old, quickly grabbed a bun from the counter and ran away as fast as he could to get away from the seller who was after him. As the space between the boy and the person who was after him shrunk quickly, Quentin stepped in out of compassion. He quickly grabbed the little thief by the hand, stopped the chase, and pulled the boy towards him. The seller stopped moving out of shock. He looked at Quentin with anger on his face and told him, "You should be on your way. I will take care of this little thief." By looking at the former Marine with panic, the kid knew right away that Quentin wasn't going to back down. He made it clear, "The boy will stay with me. In exchange, I will pay you back for what he stole, plus a little more." He said it in a way that made it clear that no one could argue. At this key moment, the seller quickly realized that getting into a fight was pointless because the man seemed to have nothing to lose. The seller chose a peaceful solution and took the former Marine's offer of money. At the same time, Quentin grabbed Simon by the hand and asked, "Why did you do that, kid?" With the worry of a parent. "Do you want to go to jail? It's hard to be there." Simon sighed and bit on the bun Quentin gave him as he told him, "I'm an orphan. I live in a shelter, but when I'm hungry, I often run away. My name is Simon." Quentin understood Simon's situation and nodded to indicate that he did. He knew how hard it was to be poor and understood the hard problems that Simon was facing in his life. Still, while they were talking, Quentin had that persistent, disturbing thought. As he thought about himself, "I'm almost 45 and I don't have children." He realized the hole in his life that the realization had created. This surprise meeting with Simon made him think about the idea of having a family and being a parent. After having a good talk with Simon, Quentin decided to show kindness by buying the boy a bag of sweets and promising him more treats if Simon didn't steal. The boy, his face beaming with happiness, quickly made his promise, saying, "I won't, sir, I swear. I have plenty of food, so why would I steal now?" Quentin felt like a fatherly figure when he was patted by Simon on the shoulder, and then went about his daily business. Quentin couldn't stop thinking about the little child, even though the day was very busy. At dinner later that night, he told Evelyn about the meeting and talked about the idea of adopting Simon. Quentin asked Evelyn, "When will we start our family? And will we ever?" There was a mix of hope and doubt in the air. Evelyn's eyes lit up with happiness when she heard Quentin's idea, showing that he had struck a particularly strong chord. Many people didn't know this, but one of the reasons Evelyn got divorced was that she and her husband couldn't have children. In that honest moment of sharing, Quentin showed how complicated the shared desire to have children was, giving them a glimpse into the depths of their emotional journey. Recognizing that becoming a mother is a dream shared by all women, Evelyn told Quentin that she, like most women, had hopes of becoming a mother. But health problems had been getting in the way of these hopes for a while, making her aware that having a child of her own might be impossible. Even though Evelyn was very happy about it, Quentin still had one question. How will Simon react to this? The fact that they didn't know how Simon would react made their plans to grow their family through adoption even more complicated. This set the stage for a deep and life-changing chapter in their lives. The boy happily agreed to become the former Marine's adopted son, which made him feel better. Simon was sick of the orphanage's grey walls, bad food and bleak life. He was ready to do anything to get Quentin Evans to adopt him right away. Everything had to be in order for about 2 months, so Quentin set up a room for Simon at Evelyn's house during that time. Little Simon was grateful for his new parents' hard work and kissed both of them right away. With a smile, Quentin said, "Now we have a family." As the pages of time turned, 3 years went by quickly, and Simon was about to start his educational journey. When he started school, he was once again hit by the harsh truth of social unfairness. While most of the other students came from wealthy families, it didn't take long for the son of a poor repairman to stand out as different from the others. Simon never wasted his pocket money on useless things, because he didn't have enough money. Instead, he carefully saved every penny in a piggy bank because he wanted to buy some clothes. Simon knew that his parents would be upset if they found out that he hadn't spent his lunch money on school-related things, so he kept a secret. He was determined to save his money for clothes instead of buying treats from the cafeteria. But this wasn't the only thing that Simon had to deal with. Simon was constantly picked on by his peers, who made fun of him by calling his father a one-legged pirate and his mother a cook at a roadside cafeteria. But he dealt with the abuse with strength. Simon got into fights a lot to protect himself and protect his parents' name. He was brave enough to stand up, even though he was outnumbered. Even though Simon tried very hard, things always went in favor of the majority, leaving Simon on the losing end. These events hurt the boy in school as well as on the playground, which made Quentin and Evelyn very worried about how the constant bullying was affecting their son's grades. The emotional weight of these problems cast a shadow over Simon's academic journey. As the years went by, Simon faced more and more problems in school. Becoming a senior, Simon changed in a bad way. He became an outsider and was bullied all the time by kids from all over the school. The young man was under a lot of stress because of his surroundings, and he was about ready to quit school. His worried parents strongly told him not to take such a drastic action. Simon was struggling with a strong feeling of being alone. He had already made up his mind about the upcoming prom. He didn't go to the event because he didn't have the proper clothes. He was very aware of how hard it was on his family's finances. He was strong-willed enough not to bother his parents with a request for money, knowing that most of the family's income was going to pay for his mother's treatment during her 3-year illness. While Simon was having trouble, Quentin, driven by a desire to improve the family's precarious financial situation, spent days and days trying in vain to find a safe ground. The former Marine fell into a deep depression when the bank refused to give him a loan. No matter how hard he tried, luck seemed to have turned its back on me yet again, Quentin thought. In this terrible situation, Quentin could feel his family falling apart and how helpless he felt all of the time. Quentin wanted to do nothing, so he made the tough choice of using the family's leftover funds to buy Simon a suit for the prom. "Son, don't be scared of the challenging part. You have to stay strong, even though life isn't always fair," Quentin said. At the time, Simon felt his father's words gave him a lot of strength, and he decided to go to the prom, even though he knew he would be made fun of. The boy was glad that the school was over, and he would move on to the next part of his life. But Simon couldn't apply to college until his parents were told to go to the police station. They were worried. Did our son do something? There was a big treat waiting for the couple when they got to the police station. To begin with, Simon did not do anything wrong. It turned out that some rich family members of his late father were looking for him. Barbara and Howard Perez said that Simon was their grandson. "But our son lived in an orphanage. There must be some kind of mistake here," Quentin said. The old couple didn't give up though. It turned out that they had already hired an investigator to find Simon while he was living with his new family. Well, our son David dated a girl named Megan when he was younger. Their love story grew quickly and was very emotional, but it ended in a painful breakup. It might have been our fault, but it didn't matter anymore. Megan was pregnant at the time. She had already given birth to a boy 8 months before the breakup. The woman died after bleeding a lot, and Simon ended up in a shelter. We never knew about it until Megan's friend told us, so we set out to find our own child. There's more, and it hurts to talk about it. Our son David died in a car accident a year ago, and now left without an heir, which is simply unacceptable to us. Barbara Perez said, when Quentin thought that the couple might take away Simon from him, tears came to his eyes. Do not worry, sir. We will not fight over who gets to keep Simon. Thanks for everything you've done for him. Howard Perez quickly told the former Marine, I don't think we'll ever be able to repay you for it. When Quentin learned that the couple wasn't going to try to take Simon away, he felt a lot better. They just wanted to help Simon find his way in life. After a few days, Simon was already going to one of the best colleges in the country to learn things that were worth a lot of money. The young man kept in touch with both his adopted parents and his new grandparents while he was at college. After successfully graduating from college, Simon's career took a big turn when he became a manager at one of Howard Perez's companies. Howard Perez was proud of his grandson's real interest in the family business. Over the next few years, Simon Evans quickly became a skilled worker and a formidable business force. 10 years into his career, he had achieved unmatched success, hitting heights that even he found amazing, showing how dedicated and smart he was. In the mindset of his greatest success, a nostalgic invite to his high school reunion came through social media messages. As soon as he saw the chance, Simon chose to go to the event. It was there that he would unintentionally show how different he was from what people thought of a disabled Marine's son. At the reunion, which took place at a restaurant, peers met up again, but no one knew about Simon's amazing accomplishments. They kept looking at him through the lens of the crippled Marine's poor son, not realizing the life-changing journey he had been on. He could feel the shock on the faces of Simon's old classmates as a fleet of fancy cars pulled up to the restaurant. Is that Simon? Simon Evans? Look at that pretty woman he brought with him. When Simon walked in, there was a buzz of shock that made people realize how different his ideas were from what they thought before. Simon was thrilled to be in the spotlight, so he met his classmates with a smile and then planned a fancy dinner with exotic foods and expensive drinks to show how successful he was. Even though the people who used to pick on him were still looking at him, Simon handled the reunion with grace, focused not on the bad things that happened from the past, but on the bright future that was ahead. Simon used that evening as a canvas to paint a picture of a successful and happy life. He showed how his determination had taken him from the dark side of doubt to the brighter light of success. In the lively atmosphere of the gathering, an emotional moment took place when Simon took the impromptu stage. Without a doubt, Simon was deeply grateful to his parents, Evelyn and Quentin, for always being there for him and supporting him through his hard journey. They were both present at the meeting and received his gratitude. As he spoke, the room fell silent, which made the moment even more important. When Evelyn and Quentin looked at their grown son, they were filled with a wide range of feelings, including pride, love, and a deep sense of satisfaction. The tears that filled their eyes were no longer from the hard times they had been through together down the years. Rather, they were tears of pure happiness running down their faces as they celebrated the amazing changes their family had gone through. The reunion served as an opportunity for the Evans family to show their enduring bond, serving as evidence for their perseverance, affection, and constant quest for the familial joy they had courageously manifested.